Join us on Talk Show.
Our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, which affects the way we act, feel, and the way we think. It influences our daily lives and also the way we function. Mental health is the topic today. Welcome to Talk Show. And my name is Misheck. I'm your host today, and my co-host is
Patricia, Bwalya. So, to help us discuss the topic of mental health, we have a gentleman right here. He's going to tell us his name and a bit of information about himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Simbule, a student at Evenhorn College, and I'm also a peer educator. We are here to discuss the topic called mental health.
all right, Mr. Simbule. Welcome to the program. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, so let's begin the chat. How do you define mental health and why is it important?
Thank you very much for hosting me. So mental health is the state of psychological, emotional, and social well-being. A lot of people are having a lot of mental issues in our country. The rate of suicide in our country is about 80%. It's male. So we are here to discuss mental health and on how we can help our peers who are having such difficulties.
All right, so then why is it important?
The most important thing is that it saves life. You know, a lot of people are committing suicides because of there is no one to usher them, there's no one to help them with their mental issues. The importance of mental health is that one, it will save life, and the other thing is that it will help people to release their stress. If you interact with someone, it will be much easier for you to lessen the burden other than keeping it to yourself.
All right, so this is a condition. So who does it affect? Is it just the elderly, the young, the youths? Is it boys? Is it girls? Is it just students, or is it pupils? Or who does this type of condition called mental health? Who does it affect?
So mental health affects everyone. There is a saying which goes, if you're not affected, then you're infected in one way or the other. For example, if my brother is going through a tough time, in one way or the other, I'll also be affected by such mental issues. So it affects everyone, it being the old, the children, even our peers and our students as well.
All right.
So, I too feel like mental health is very important because you never know what someone is passing through and they just keep the emotions to themselves. So, it's very important to be aware of mental health. So, how can you know to say someone is having mental issues minus them telling anyone around them?
That's a very good question. The first thing on how you can know if someone is having mental issues, one is that they withdraw from people. There are those people that always want just to be alone, they don't want to associate with people. So they withdraw from people and only want to spend time with themselves.
Okay.
All right. So we live in communities. So how do culture and society factors impact mental health in our communities?
Thank you very much for that question. You know, society mostly has a negative impact. For example, in terms of men are taught to always be strong and not to show their weakness or their mental health issues. Society has a negative impact in an event where if someone opens up, they'll be regarded as being weak or being less of a man. So it is up to us as help those who are having those mental issues. You know, they say no man is an island. Despite how strong you may be, always know that there's always someone who can help you. No problem is too big. Always open up. We're always here for you to help you in your mental issues.
Exactly. So I also feel like there's need for society to stop this thing of saying no, mamuna samalila, because no, serious, every person has emotions and people go through different struggles and people fail to open up because of such norms that the society has brought into. So number Mr. Simbule, so I would like to ask introverts okay, naturally introverts. So how can you deal with such people when they're having mental issues? Because it's rare for them to open up, even though isolating themselves, yes, they can, but it's always them isolating themselves. So how can you know to say this person is having mental issues when they're an introvert?
Okay, thank you very much. There are a lot of characteristics, so there are many factors that you can highlight if someone is having mental issues. So some of the characteristics on how you can know if someone is having mental issues. The first one is that they withdraw from people. The second one is that they will always listen to those songs that suit their emotions. You know, it's not normal whereby the whole day you're just listening to songs that are depressing, they're breaking you, you can tell that no, my friend is having some mental issues. Others, they'll be over happy, there was someone just laughing carelessly, because that's not normal according to psychology. Yeah, you cannot be overjoyous, and again, you cannot be depressed. So, all in all, the person who have that self-harm within them, like they just want to harm themselves. Okay.
So muntadesekaseka fya paliponzi, just not to say mental health issues, because there's no way where you're in a serious situation someone is laughing. Yeah.
All right, so we want to help these people. We see these things happening, our friends, our colleagues in workplaces. So how can individuals support their loved ones with mental health cases?
Okay, first and foremost, don't be judgmental. Don't approach them with that mindset of telling them, no, it's your fault, no, you did this, no, it's all on you. First of all, take them down. Try to be a good person to them. Just try to comfort them. Don't asking them a lot of questions. Just be nice to them. Make sure you form an environment whereby someone will open up to you. And also set boundaries. There are certain things, despite us trying to help our friends, but there are certain things where they won't be able to open up. So you have to set boundaries and know your limits. But all in all, make sure you win a so at the end of the day.
Yeah. So okay, I just need one reason why people don't really open up when they're having mental issues.
Yeah. So one of the reasons is that society has a negative impact. As we mentioned earlier, Mamuna Samalila. No, as a man, just have to be strong. Like how my brother is saying it. So
Yeah.
most times society has made us men, including women, to have that mindset saying like regardless of what happens, I'm a man, I just have to survive. So it begins with us, it begins with society, it begins with us individuals. Let's create an environment which will enable people to be free to interact with us.
Yeah. And I also think sometimes it's because of how we react when someone tells us to say they're having certain issues. Because there's this saying which says, when I'm wrong, educate me, don't belittle me. I make a mistake, educate me. Don't start pointing fingers at the mistake that I made. So I think that's also a very vital point there, which says to say once someone has made a mistake, try to make them learn from the mistake and not overlook their mistake.
Yeah. So people should be able to open up, huh?
Yeah.
When you talk to them, people should be able to.
Because it's very difficult to open up to someone when you know to say after opening up, they will shout at you. It's very difficult.
It is. If I'm not going to concur with what you're going to say, then
Exactly.
you feel suppressed.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Mr. Simbule.
Yes.
So, what is the most pressing mental issue needing attention today? They say there are a lot of mental, people are suffering from mental health, as we have said. So there are a lot of factors, there are a lot of things influencing them to go into that type of condition. So today, as we're speaking right now, what is the most pressing mental health issues which are supposed to be attended to right now?
Okay. According to how life is and how the society and how the world is running, I believe one thing is lack of love from their families, it being parents, it being from the mother side and from the father side. We lack love, like we don't show love to our peers. For example, it's like everyone for himself and God for us all.
Exactly.
So let's learn to show love. It being our neighbors, our roommates, let's demonstrate that love towards them.
Yeah. So yes, just like Jesus said, love one another. So love is a very vital thing. Once, even if things are not okay, but once someone just feels that love from you, they can even be free with you, even though that person isn't your family member. They are able to share with you their mental issues. But while there is no love, mental issues will probably be there. So let us learn to love one another, just like Mr. Simbule has said, and we'll be able to open up to our peers.
No, they are youths. Which love are we talking about?
No. Okay. So the love that we're talking about here is the Jesusly love. They love one another. Love your neighbors. You love yourself. Yes.
All right. Yeah. So there are conceptions. There's a way we think of mental health. So what are the common misconceptions about mental health?
Yeah, a lot of people think like mental health is the problem of the one who is affected. I think that's where we get it wrong. For example, if a person commits suicide, people be like, no, how can you do such a thing? You need to be like this. But most times it's because of us that people do such issues. Always have that listening ear when a brother opens up to you, or sometimes don't wait for someone to approach you, but always have that conscious within yourself, say, no, my brother is not okay. By doing that, we'll save a lot of lives and improve our lives as children as well as peers.
Just to add on, just like the Bible says, let us be fast to listen and slow to speak. So there are times whereby you want to judge someone based on one side story. You haven't heard the full story, and then you want to judge someone. So let us be listeners and not fast in action. Yes.
Okay. So now, how do we promote mental health awareness in schools, workplaces, universities, everywhere, homes? If it's there, someone at home can have mental health, right? So how do we promote the mental health awareness?
Yeah, so one of the things, being sensitive, being friendly to people. It's hard to open up to a parent, or let's say a father who's always rude to you. So always be friendly to people, always have that interactive spirit within you.
Okay. Yes. So we interact.
Yeah, be open to people. Don't be too don't be too rigid, don't be too, hard on people. Be friendly, interact with them, create that environment which will enable people to interact with you and open up to you.
Now magamando achikwera guy. Mando
Yeah.
achikwera guy. You just open up anyhow.
But I think there's a difference, Pari Chikwela and opening up to someone. Yes. And I also think these days, the males are complaining to say there are a lot of female organizations as at now. So I also think maybe promoting boys organizations. I don't know. I think that can also be one of the ways. Yes.
That's the truth. Mama Sadira.
Yeah.
Anyway, as a peer educator, as you said, so what policy changes would you like to see to improve mental health support?
Yeah, I believe we need to open a lot of organizations that support the boy child as well. If you observe, we have a lot of women doing very good in society, the economy, but in terms of guys as men, a lot are being junkies and a lot are just doing something which is negative. So let's create an environment for both genders. Let's promote gender equity, whereby both genders are being looked at like they are all children, other than no Mamuna and Kulimba. But let's create an environment where we support both the boys and the girls.
Your closing remarks, Mr. Simbule, on mental health.
Okay, in a nutshell.
Okay, wait, before you even give us your closing remarks, so would you kindly shed more light when someone having a jovial personality and someone having mental health issues?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for that tricky but very powerful question. So, for example, I'll give an example of myself. When I'm in school, I'm a very serious person.
Okay.
I'm very serious, always serious. But when I go home, I'm a last born. You know how these things be. I'm always jovial. I'm always interacting with my mom. I'm always interacting with my siblings. Yeah, so there's a huge difference. If someone is mentally unstable in terms of being jovial, happiness, like it will show up even in places where it's not necessary. For example, imagine you're at a church gathering, then someone just starts laughing aimlessly. That's mental issues. But there are those people who are just jovial like myself, whereby if you observe like no apapangala maningizi, I'll make sure I say something which will enable people to laugh. So if someone is that active, I believe it's not mental health, but they're just jovial personally.
Like someone does take up a mali that I'm jovial.
Like
That's a major.
like Patricia. Just like Patricia.
Okay, so you have heard the difference between someone having a jovial personality and someone having mental health issues.
Your closing remarks, sir.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I want to say thank you for giving me this privilege of having to meet you guys. My closing remarks is mental health is a very serious issue. It's a very serious issue affecting a lot of peers, even elderly people. So let's always be sensitive to our friends that are having mental issues. For example, there is some of us whereby if you're having an issue, maybe personal issue, you try to be yourself. You won't try to show it out, but let's take time to interact with people. Don't always be that person who's always serious, but be open to people, be sensitive to how people and if you are one person, if you personally are having some mental issues, there are some techniques which you can use on how you can calm yourself, on how you can help yourself with those mental issues. The first one is called the breathing technique. So we'll just try some practical activity on how it will help us. So we see if we prove it, it will truly help us. So let's breathe in for about 30 seconds and then breathe out.
10 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you, when you breathe in, you hold your breath, then
You breathe out.
Alright.
Okay.
let's go. How do you feel?
That's my favorite.
Okay, personally, I think it's a good technique.
Yeah, you can do it even for
Oh.
1 minute where you breathe in, you hold your breath, then you breathe out. Yeah, it will
Okay.
truly help you to at least calm yourself down. And the second thing is doing some physical activities. I personally, I do some home workouts every time when I wake up. 06 when everyone is sleeping. So make sure you are active. Do some homework. Do some exercise. Don't be just a youth who's that lazy.
Yeah.
Do some
Jogging,
exercise.
filia.
Yeah, go for jogging.
Matia kama sports filia. What's you saying?
And the other thing, focus on the good part. Life can throw a lot of things at us, but remember those moments where at least you had a good time. Maybe it was with family, with friends. Remember that day when you passed. Remember that day maybe you got a scholarship. In life there's always something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
I was once told that in life it's like we are in the road and we are farmer robots. Despite how red my robots are, at one point they'll become green and it will be your time to go. So always focus on the positive, always focus on the good things, always relive those moments where you had a good life. Yeah, and then the other thing is seek counseling from peers.
We'll see you people.
Yeah. It can be maybe from a person from church, it being maybe your lecturer. Just try by all means to seek counseling from those people who will help you. There are certain people whereby if you approach them, they can make the situation worse. So make sure you scan the environment, know your people, know your friends, know your peers, and make sure you approach that person who will help you mentally.
And I think just to add on, there are apps which they have counselors where you can talk to. If you don't feel talking to counselors physically, there are apps that you can download. There are a lot of social media platforms that you can download for you to acquire counseling.
And you can also watch programs such as this one. Right
Exactly.
Here. Beautiful stuff right there coming from Mr. Simbule. Thank you very much for coming to the program.
Thank you very much. It was a privilege being on the talk show.
Okay, psychological, social well-being has been the topic today. Mental health from me, Misheck, and my co-host Patricia is goodbye, and join us next week right here on Circus TV on the talk show at 8 p.m. Thank you very much.